In our first chapter, Brandon and Dress Green's world began to fall apart. What started as a reckless partnership in Tulsa's underground drug scene drew him into the orbit of Gordon Todd Skinner, a man with silver-tongued charm and quiet connections to the DEA. Brandon and Crystal collected evidence of Todd's narcotic operation and turned it over to the federal agents, only to find the help they expected was anything but certain. With pressure mounting, they slipped from motel to motel, finally landing in Las Vegas to stay hidden and stay alive. Then, without warning, Crystal disappeared, vanishing from Brandon's side, and leaving only questions in her wake. How and why she left is a mystery, and that mystery opens the door to chapter 2.
Brandon's room.
This is the story of Brandon and Dress Green.
Stop, homie. Stop. Stop.
I don't have a cell phone. I don't have money. I just have echinacea in my car. I do see a little note. Next to the note, a little stack of pills. It was all coded. Pretty much what she was saying was she had contacted her higher ups in California. They were going to get us paperwork, safe documents. She had to quickly catch a flight to California to go meet with these people, pay them off, do whatever. I was a rendezvous with her at the safe house. My stomach's in knots. Like, this is not how I want my life going. I go and knock on some dude's door and ask him to buy these drugs off me, and he begrudgingly gives me cash. I get on a payphone and contact an old friend that's in Phoenix, and I asked her if there's any way that she could give me some safe passage and maybe hook me up. I told her that my life was getting a little crazy, that I just needed some place to lay my head and gather my thoughts. I'm supposed to go from Las Vegas somewhere in Arizona. The distance didn't seem that great. I get on the highway with insufficient amount of gas, but I think I'm going to be just fine because, I'm always fine.
What followed was a string of incidences that showed just how underprepared and overconfident Brandon was for the journey ahead.
This is a mountainous area. So I'm going up and down these mountains. I just see my gas tank just like draining. I have no resources, no phone, I don't know. I'm just freaking out. I'm on E and I still have a ways to go, and there's not even an exit. See some like emergency exit, like some side road. I pull off just out of desperation. At this point, I'm not using gas anymore. I'm just like allowing a momentum just to keep pushing me. I'm like, oh Jesus, what do I do? And I'm quickly trying to read like really small signage, and it says something about like harbor one way, something else another way, and I just go for it. I just take a right. Everything is looking very sparse. I'm in the desert. I haven't experienced these types of terrains before, and I didn't have water. I didn't have a blanket. I didn't have supplies. I was not prepared.
Despite everything, Brandon eventually made it to the safe house, which we now know is actually his sister's home in Norman, Oklahoma. How long he stayed there, though, isn't clear.
So at a certain point, she had contacted me at my sister's and had said, hey, things are taking longer than expected. I'm still getting paperwork. Just stay put. I'm getting super anxious at this point, and I am going stir crazy at my sister's. One late night, I'm just not okay. I'm like, man, I'm a pimp and a player. Like, I cannot just sit around for my girlfriend any longer. Something is not right.
One night, overwhelmed and unsure, Brandon broke. He decided to head back to Tulsa to look for Crystal. She might be at their old place, what he describes as a ghetto roach-infested apartment they once shared.
So I went from Las Vegas to Phoenix. I was in Phoenix overnight. After that, I probably drove pretty straight through to Norman, Oklahoma. In my recollection, I thought I was at my sister's, let's say, a week or two. My girlfriend, love of my life at that point, Crystal, was in Tulsa, and I thought she was securing safe passage so we could get out of the country. At this point, she's telling me to stay put. She's not answering my phone calls, but every once in a while she'll respond to me or get a hold of me through my sister, and we'll just reiterate the point, just gaslight me, tell me, hey, you're good, just be patient, things are taking longer than expected. I'm not patient. I eventually just want to be with my girl, and I want to be home in our ghetto roach infested apartment. I just can't handle it anymore. I go stir crazy. I drive to Tulsa to our roach infested apartment where she and I had established a place to stay before we went on the run. This was in a really, really rough part of town. This is a place where you could have an alias. They aren't really running backgrounds. There was plenty of gang violence, shootings, and, heroin addicts, and definitely not a place you want to leave your door open, especially not in the middle of the night.
But when Brandon arrived, that's exactly what he found. A wide open door, no signs of struggle, no explanation, just open.
The front door to the apartment being wide open is alarming because no one should be there. I don't know where Crystal is. She's being really vague, but she's not there because we don't have air conditioning and it's super hot and it's real ghetto. There's roaches everywhere. It's so bad.
He stepped inside and there she was, Crystal, lying on the floor, crying. There in the room with her, Todd.
Todd was seemingly like asleep on the couch, my couch, mind you. We had this whole apartment because of him. I had a home. I had a family. This is my childhood home. I have other places I can be. We're hiding out because he had been so crazy. So to go through all of this and then to finally make it back home, I'm not even supposed to be there. I arrived there out of desperation, and then to find him, we are hiding from because he is going to kill her.
Todd stood to greet Brandon, a strange and unsettling moment given their history. He quickly claimed he had nothing to do with why Crystal was crying. He even tried to get Crystal to speak for him to calm Brandon down. Todd then said, "Let's take care of Crystal first. I'm working on getting the fake passports ready for all of us to leave the country." Exhausted, Brandon said nothing. He laid down on the couch and wrapped himself in a sheet to keep the roaches away. When morning came, Todd was back, and with him, a new face, William Houck, or as he's known by the name Bill, and what some others call him online as the Hitman. Everything seemed eerily normal, like nothing had ever happened. Todd, now trying to win Brandon's trust again, treats him like a little brother, requesting to spend time like any old buds would. Todd and Crystal were staying in a hotel, staying cool in the summer heat, while Brandon was soaking and sweating in his roach-infested apartment alone. He was upset about the shift in dynamics between Crystal and him, although she kept denying there was any problem.
She's just not acting the same. We're not communicating that much. I'm feeling out of control. One of the times I'm supposed to go and hang out with Crystal. If I remember correctly, Crystal had called me and said that Todd wasn't doing well. I needed to give him a ride to the hospital.
Todd, she said, had swallowed a dangerous amount of weight loss pills to disguise himself for a secret getaway. Brendan jumped into his car and sped over. When he stepped through the door, the scene that greeted him was disturbing.
I remember blood coming out of his head, out of his eyes, out of his ears. It was not working out for him.
I have two dogs. Someone's coming out.
Howdy, ma'am.
It's a lady.
Sorry for bothering you. No. Oh, you got a cute little puppy?
Cute. He's talking about the puppies. I think she's putting the dogs away.
Sorry about that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry to bother you.
Oh, no, that's okay.
My name is Brandon. I used to live here back in the day, back when I was in college. I have some friends in town, and they were wanting to take a photo of me in front of my old house.
Okay.
Could I do? I just didn't want to freak you out.
Oh, no, no. You can do it. No.
Brendan, after discovering Todd's limp body, began to help him up. Keep in mind, Brandon stands around 5 feet and 7 inches tall, and here he is lifting a Goliath of a man, 6 feet and 3 inches tall and weighing 231 pounds. Once back on his feet, Todd decided to move the party to a new hotel. He offered to get Brandon out of his ghetto roach-infested apartment and into his own hotel room with Crystal, something much nicer located in downtown Tulsa. What followed was the beginning of a new plan to leave the country more discreetly.
Coming into the hotel room, Todd was on the phone. Crystal was sitting next to him, and they were seemingly talking to a ship captain. They were doing some ruse. They were conning someone about commandeering someone's industrial ship. They were going to pretty much jack someone's big-ass ship from the port of Galveston. And on that ship, we were going to be stowaways. I was going to be stowaway because I had another court case going on, and we need to get out of the country.
While Todd had his supposed plan to escape, Brandon was still trying to figure out how to free himself and Crystal from Todd's grip. It's understandable. Brendan had every reason to remain disturbed and distrustful. That's when Todd revealed a part of his plan that had already been set into motion, one that shattered Brandon entirely.
They were doing these things to convince me that we had a legitimate plan going on, because I also was feeling uncomfortable. I was expressing to Crystal in private, I don't trust Todd. I don't really think he's forgiven me. My spirit is telling me that he's very dangerous and that I need to get away from him. We need to get away from him. They had revealed to me that they had gotten married. Todd had shoved the marriage certificate quite literally in my face by surprise one time. Well, I was madly in love with Crystal. We'd done all this to get away from Todd. I definitely did not need them getting married. There's nothing in me that was okay with them getting married. Crystal was distraught. She was bawling on the ground. This was a common occurrence at this point in our life. I did not know what to say. I was speechless. I'm 18. My heart is going through a lot. Todd was very quick to tell me that it was just for legal reasons. Dude, listen, she's yours. She loves you. You love her. Everything's golden. You got to know that if we're married, she can't testify against me. And I have all of this stuff going on. I can't have Crystal testifying against me. Also, I can't be forced to testify against her. You guys have done so much stuff. I don't want the government hanging stuff over my head. Like, what if I'm forced to testify against you guys? Like, I can't marry you. I can marry her. Like, it's for safety. Like, you guys are good. I leave. I'm not okay. I go back to my roach apartment. I just want to be alone.
It's easy to forget that Brandon was just 18 at the time. As a teen, the world is yours. Dreams are more than just that, and there's never a reason to believe that you won't be okay. Right before Brandon went on the run, he actually met a drug dealer by the name Casper. He was supplying him with red hair weed marijuana, and he explained to me that typically he wouldn't take marijuana just for free or get it fronted. He went ahead and took it just because of how desperate he was. And he ended up taking it and storing it underneath the floorboards or the flooring of his house that he was sharing with 2 or 3 of his other mates. And the worst part of it all was that one of those friends ended up stealing that pound of weed. I ended up asking Brandon to see if he could remember any more details on this matter, and this is what he had to say. At the time, I was renting a simple little white house across Tulsa University on 3rd and Lewis. 3 bed, 1 bath. I sublet the other 2 rooms. One to my full-time driver, Tim, the other to a lower-level dealer in my downline. His name was Scooby. We had a stash spot under the house. That's where I hid the pound.
This is the house I was living in when I first met Crystal and Todd. Actually, this is the house that Todd dragged Crystal out of. He had gone crazy and decided he had had enough and wanted Crystal back. I was out running errands or whatnot. In the back of the house, you could climb underneath. That's where my stuff was when my pound got stolen by Scooby, my friend.
Scooby. Fuck Scooby.
That used to be my master bedroom right there.
Turns out Scooby was strapped for cash too. He stole it out from under right when I needed it the most. And just like that, the floor dropped out from under me again. I thought about burning Casper the same way. At that point, I owed him close to $900. That was a lot of money for an 18-year-old in 2003.
I very much wanted to jack him. I very much wanted to renege on the debt, just simply not pay him off, just keep the money. I had flipped the pound, actually got stolen.
But I've always shied away from burning bridges, even when it would have benefited me. So I hustled, did what I could, paid Casper back, but I dug myself deeper into a lose-lose. I left their comfortable hotel room and went back to our roach-infested apartment, back to the shadows, back to lick my wounds. I collapsed against the brick wall inside, numb, no tears, no thoughts, just blank. I prayed for help. I was exhausted, but wired, couldn't sleep. My 1998 champagne-colored Toyota Solara was parked near the stairwell, loaded down with household stuff I still hadn't unloaded. I figured I might as well. It was hot, late, streetlights were buzzing, bugs flying everywhere. I opened the back door to drag out a massive old-school TV, heavy, awkward, and my skinny frame groaned underneath the weight. That's when I felt a tap on my left shoulder. I looked up. It was Casper. The unburned bridge, looking down at me as I crumbled. He was standing there with a homie, both Hispanic, both obviously deep into life, and I froze. My stomach dropped. I knew if I ghosted him, this would have been the end of me. But I didn't. They smiled and welcomed me into their neighborhood, told me I was safe there. They helped me carry everything into the apartment like we were old friends. That story has always stayed with me. Don't burn bridges. Pay your debts. Treat people right, even in the dark. Because if you don't, you might end up shot in the back of the head at 3 a.m. in some ghetto apartment. And no one will know, and no one would even care.
He lures me back in. Todd takes me to lunch and starts being real friendly. One of the days, takes me to a nice hotel and spends hours teaching me about nautical currents. He has massive maps that are larger than me, like 8 feet long, whole bunch of them. And he has them laid out on the ground, and it's just a whole bunch of like waves. And he spends hours geeking out, showing me how to read these and telling me, he's just handling me, he just manipulating me. He was convincing me that we could go legit. He had always told me stories about this plantation that he owned, that someone else was managing it. And so he can show up whenever he wants because, there's drug money that paid for it a long time ago. It's just a front man that runs operations. So it's pretty much Todd's. We were going to create real estate on the island. We were going to use this ship to pull up sand out of the ocean and actually make additional real estate for Jamaica and sell it back to the island itself, and that we don't have to sell drugs anymore.
While this excited Brandon on the surface, Deep down, he remained cautious. His guts told him not to trust Todd. Despite Brandon sharing these concerns with Crystal, she consistently told him to trust Todd.
And I liked the idea. On paper, I did not trust him. But Crystal kept telling me that I should trust him, and I trusted Crystal.
Brandon went along with the new scheme. The group planned to forge documents from Carnival Cruise Line, departing from New Orleans. These were meant to show Brandon as a staff member on the 90-day voyage, explaining both his sudden disappearance and lack of contact with his family due to no phone coverage at sea. Crystal created a similar alibi with her own contacts.
By the time I was at a going away party at El Chico's with all my friends and family, and they were saying goodbye to me. They won't see me again for 90 days. After the going away party, I then rendezvous with Todd and Crystal at the Doubletree Hotel. That next day was July 4th. Things had been really stressful for a while. They had suggested that we have a little party. We used to have parties. We used to party. We used to be friends.
Just a quick content warning. The following section includes graphic material that marks a massive turning point in Brandon's story. With the cruise plan in motion, the group prepared for one final party before their supposed departure.
Do a boat.
I put my Glock on lock. I put my Glock on lock. Damn, that fucked my ear up, actually.
Crystal and I end up watching the fireworks July 4th. I remember feeling like my life was in jeopardy.
By this point, Brandon had faced serious moments of misfortune, one that could have easily led to his death. But the one thing that kept him going was the love and trust he had for Crystal. In later parts of this documentary, we'll explore Crystal's deeper involvement in Brandon's downfall. But if I could say one thing, with absolute certainty, Crystal let Brandon down in a way that feels unforgivable. Betrayal from someone you love cuts deepest. Brandon lived in secrecy and danger. Trust didn't come easily, and in his world, close relationships were rare and vulnerable.
I trusted her a lot. We had a vow of honesty with one another because I had led a double life for so long, and she had led a double life because she was also in the biz. It was nice to be able to be with someone I could just be honest with. And so we had this agreement. She had this idea that we should have this vow of honesty with one another. And so our entire relationship, I was just completely honest with her. It was the first time for me to ever do that. I had told her that I was concerned that Todd was just going to throw me overboard. Like when we were in international waters, after he got me as a stowaway on some industrial ship, like, why not? Like, that seemed like something he would do. But I also wanted to protect her. And I expressed my suspicions to her, and she, once again gaslit me and told me, no, baby, everything's fine. Tonight will be fun.
This is where it all begins. The night of their 4th of July party arrived. The location, the Doubletree Inn Hotel. Todd stayed in the room next to Brandon and Crystal's. The room's connected by a single door.
Always wanted to do Todd's psychedelics because he always had real exotic stuff. He would only give it to me when it benefited him. I was excited to be able to try, some psychedelics and maybe something new. And and let off some steam.
But Crystal once again played what we now call the K card. She claimed that her neck was hurting and said that she wouldn't be participating in the night's events. I'm only pointing this out because typically when Crystal plays her K card, you know, something's about to happen. You kind of start figuring that something is bound to happen.
I remember her off to the side, not in a good mood, just kind of like having like an Eeyore spirit, you know, saying that, really complaining of her neck pain from when Todd had dragged her out like a caveman weeks prior. But Todd was in a good mood and I was fine. So he suggested that we trip together.
Typically when people take psychedelics, it comes down to a few main options. DMT is smoked for short, intense trips. Mushrooms are eaten, dried in capsules or as edibles. LSD is usually taken in micrograms under the tongue via blotter paper or dropped into sugar cubes, strips, or in pure form, measured out of via dropper. Todd often used this last method to lace Catholic communion wafers with LSD 25, turning the act into something ceremonial, almost cult-like.
Or so goes the story. You never know what he's actually giving you. You know, he just gives you whatever.
On the night of July 4th, 2003, Brandon Green was prepared to celebrate with the woman he loved and the man he once looked up to. But instead of LSD 25, Todd drugged him with something entirely different. As Brendan began to lose himself in the high, Todd approached and injected a substance directly into Brandon's neck, something meant to completely incapacitate him.
I remember looking down and not having any pants on, and him taking a razor and slicing my open and injecting something into my testicle. And I remember saying to him, "Todd, why are you doing this to me? I thought we were friends. Todd, why are you doing this to me?" I am hogtied with duct tape. I'm naked and I'm on my back. So my groin is up like a target and he is standing up and he is just kicking me as hard as he can. Like punting me would be a more accurate statement. He's punting me in my groin just over and over again. And I remember him just yelling, "You never should have touched my fiance."
He's kidnapped and tortured by the love of my life, my soulmate, a girl, first girl I ever fell in love with. She and some other people. Anyways, yeah, it was intense week. They actually transported my body from here. They put me on a luggage cart and then wheeled me out through here over that bridge into the parking garage where they put me in the passenger seat and drove me out towards Houston. They drove me to Texas City, Texas, where they continued the festivities.
I don't think he ever gave me a psychedelic. I never saw visuals. I just lost my mind. He never actually gave me LSD when he actually kidnapped me.